Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Humbo here, bringing you a brand new video. Today we're going to go over how to find the perfect sensitivity on keyboard and mouse, and I'm also going to be talking about my own experience with finding my sensitivity and how that came to be. I have a couple secret methods that I found over time that really help dial in the perfect sense to combine mechanics and aim. So if you guys are going to enjoy this video, just make sure you drop a like and a sub with the noti bell on, as we're road to 40,000 subscribers. And also check out my Twitch. I live stream every single day. The link is in the description. But without further ado, let's get in this video. Let's find the perfect sense for y'all. All right, guys. So the first thing I'm going to be discussing in this video is my own personal sensitivity and how I came to use it and why I feel like it's very versatile for building, editing, and aiming. But around 6 months ago, just to give you guys some context, I was playing on about a 22 XY sensitivity with 800 DPI. That's a very high sensitivity for keyboard and mouse, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. And I was doing this because I was mainly doing an edit playstyle, a mechanical playstyle, and it was super fun, right? Very flashy, really good and creative. It looked great in clips as well, which is something that I was very focused on. But my aim suffered so much. It was very difficult to control that type of sensitivity. I also play with a heavier mouse, so it's a little bit better in that situation, but still extremely hard to control. I was missing so many shots, and this was very frustrating when it came to arena. Now keep in mind, guys, at this high of a sensitivity, I was a complete wrist player. Literally no part of my arm was involved in aiming or moving. If you guys had a camera on my mouse, it would basically just be micro flicks, just twitching of my wrist to decide like all of my movements, all of my aiming, all of my tracking. As I'm sure you guys realize, that's extremely difficult, and it also was pretty bad on my wrist because I had a heavier mouse, and that's a lot of work just for my wrist to be taking on. And also, I actually do have an XL mousepad. I have a glorious XL mousepad. I highly recommend that you guys get an XL mousepad if you don't have one already, because a huge part of deciding your sensitivity comes down to your mouse space, right? How heavy is your mouse and your mouse space? If you have a super light mouse, that automatically means that you can play a little bit of a lower sensitivity compared to somebody playing on a heavy mouse like myself. I play on a Logitech G903, and for perspective, this is a 110 gram mouse as opposed to a Model O, which was the mouse that I used around a year ago, and it's only 58 grams. So it's almost half of the weight of my previous mouse, the Model O. So when you have a mouse that is twice as heavy, I can get away with playing on a higher sensitivity and maintaining some more control. So that's why even today my sensitivity is still on the medium to high side, but let me explain what I did. So I was on that really high sensitivity, that 20 plus XY sense with 800 DPI, like I was explaining. And here's my strategy for changing sensitivity. So what a lot of people do wrong is they find their sense and they get a little frustrated and they immediately change a drastic change. Like they go from playing on, let's say 12%, 800 DPI, and then they just go down to like 6%, or 7%, or 14% if they're going up. And these drastic changes in sensitivity is what causes people so much trouble with their muscle memory. Every time you change your sensitivity, your brain is resetting its muscle memory. It has to recalibrate how all of these things feel and how far you have to move each component. And this is really messing you guys up, because every time you're doing it, you're messing up your sensitivity and you're messing up all the practice you've put in. So my main recommendation to you guys when you're changing your sensitivity or adjusting it is to move it by 0.2% once a day. So a 0.2% change means that every 5 days to a week of playing, depending on how much you guys play, you'll be changing by only 1%. So in a week's time, if I was on what I said 22 or 24 XY sensitivity, if I changed by 0.2% over the course of a week, if I was on 22, a week later I'd be on 21. And you gradually reduce or up your sensitivity depending on what you're going for. This takes time. A lot of people aren't patient for it, but doing it this way, it allows your brain to slowly adjust to the sensitivity changes, and all the practice you've been doing doesn't go to waste this way. You might not get that big change that you want, but you won't feel that crazy muscle memory reset that I know you guys all know. Gradual change allows your brain to adjust and adapt as you go, day by day, and this allows you to make a very successful change or transition in sensitivity. I see so many people talking about how bad their aim is and how much they're struggling with that, especially when they're first switching to keyboard and mouse or pretty new to it. The best thing that you guys can do is have a gradual decline in your sensitivity. If you go by about 1% a week or 0.2 per day, this is going to be the best way for you guys to improve your aim really fast. This is exactly what I did. Took a few months, right? but it's been such a good switch and I haven't lost all that practice that I put. All right guys, so before I get into my next very important tip for finding keyboard and mouse sensitivity, I'm just gonna be showcasing an example of exactly what I was talking to you guys about, just so there's no confusion. Guys, remember I played this sensitivity now. This is what I found works best for me with 800 DPI. DPI, remember, is your mouse sensitivity. It goes between any game. It's not your in-game sense. I play 800 DPI, which is a good middle of the road sensitivity for your mouse, and I do recommend it. It's not too high, not too low if you guys play multiple games. So 800 DPI is a good baseline, and that's what I'm working off of today. So just for example, let's say you guys play 18%, 18%, okay? So this is a high sensitivity with 800 DPI, very, very high. And you wanna start lowering your sensitivity in this situation. So here's what I recommend you do every day before you get on. Maybe for like a month, let's say. You just go like this. Let's go like that, for example. If you want to go a little faster than 0.2, you can do 0.3 as well, whatever you guys want. So now we're at 17.7%, 17.7%. Now, I doubt you guys will even notice the difference when you're playing that day, maybe in a hair fraction situation, right? But your brain is catching up to what you're changing. It's not like you're just going, let me just try 12.6, 12.6. This is almost a 5% difference right here. Just for example, your brain's not going to be able to keep up with all this information and you're going to be restarting your muscle memory. So gradual changes. Let's say you were 12.6, 12.6, right? Yeah, now let's go up to 12.8, 12.8, okay? Boom, let me try to trick shot it. Ooh, boom. 12.8, 12.8. We're moving up about 0.2, 0.3 every single day, or down 0.2 or 0.3. This is by far, this is the glitch, basically, like the life hack. This is the infinite money glitch in GTA for finding the best sensitivity. It's gradually adjusting until you really get comfortable with your aim or comfortable with your building or whatever you're having trouble with. Now let's get into my next tip. Okay guys, so the next super important tip that I'm going to be talking about is if you want to be an arm or a wrist player, and why it is not always a bad idea to have a lower sensitivity. So I see so many people that like to play on a really high sensitivity, especially when they first switch to keyboard and mouse. I think it's because they get a little trigger happy because of all the mechanical possibilities that are now available to them. When you're on controller, it can be very, very difficult to have a high level of editing and building and tunneling and all that type of piece control stuff. And switching to keyboard and mouse can make you a little overzealous about all those things and neglect your aim and neglect thinking about that, when really it ends up being most people's biggest weaknesses, including myself. So what I'd like to say about that is you guys can play on a lower sensitivity and then play with more of your full arm, right? Instead of just playing with your wrist and doing all these micro flicks that can be super inconsistent but flashy, it's not always a bad idea to lower your sensitivity and play with more of your full arm. Because I'm telling you guys, while it may feel weird at first and your arm may even hurt or be sore, the only exception to this rule is if you guys just don't have enough mouse space. I definitely know people in that situation where they're playing with a very, very limited mouse space. I recommend you guys try to get as much as possible because this will allow you guys to experiment a lot more freely with your sensitivity. But as I was saying, it is a lot better, in my opinion, to try to play with more of your arm and play on a lower sensitivity. The reason for this being, you can still have a lot of those mechanics once you really master the arm movement, because you can really flick your mouse around, have a lot of control over your mouse. It doesn't just have to be these little tiny wrist movements that you get on these 15, 20% sensitivities. You can lower it, and this way you can track really well with your AR, and you can also track in the box with your SMG and shotgun a ton better than you can with these little micro wrist flicks, you know? So I really do recommend trying to play with your full arm and playing around an 8 to 10% test sensitivity on your X and Y, and then about an 800 DPI. You could also go as low as playing on 800 DPI with like a 5%, 6% XY. That would be fine as well. But like I said earlier, guys, I recommend you don't do this type of thing overnight, and you don't like just go watch pro videos or pro settings videos and just change your sensitivity to whatever they're using, even if it's radically different than yours, and then expecting a really good result from that. Like we said, that ruins muscle memory. Also, if you guys are into trying to do that wrist type of play, that's fine as well, and you're trying to work up to that higher sensitivity. But if you try to do it overnight, like I said, it's not going to work out well for you. The absolute best way to go about this, maintain the same DPI. I recommend 800, 400 is okay, even 1200 is really on the high side, but you could still get away with it. Use the same DPI through whatever games you guys play, because that'll help keep your aim consistent between games. And then it's best to just stay consistent and practice from there. And guys, I would really recommend aim trainers are great, right? Kovacs is really good. Aim Lab's a very good aim trainer. But personally for me, what I've come to find is that these types of aim trainers don't convert as well as I think they're hyped up to in actual combat, in the actual game, right? So if you're playing Kovacs for 2-3 hours a day, I don't think it gets the type of conversion, especially since it's pretty hard to practice properly, right? There's so many different things that go into making sure Kovacs is optimized to actually make a difference in Fortnite. So I would actually say the best way to practice your aim is to go into BHE fill in creative. I'm sure you guys have seen this game mode. It's just fill creative. You die, you respawn, you die, you respawn. You can pick up like any type of gun you guys want and just go to work. You can sit back far away from fights and practice your tracking while other people are fighting each other. You can get right up in boxes and practice your SMG spray, whatever you guys want. And this is all taking into account whatever resolution you're on. It's taking into account everything in Fortnite, right? Damage per second, all that. It's not like you're just playing Kovacs, which is this separate program. You're in BHE. I'd say an hour of BHE fill a day to practice your aim and really zero in whatever sensitivity you're playing on. Because remember guys, no sensitivity is going to be amazing instantly. That's why we recommend this slow growth, like we've been talking about, slow changes, and then just put in work with those changes. Let your brain really adjust to the muscle memory and trust the process. Like I said guys, I play 8.4% with 800 DPI. That's what I'm out currently if you guys want to slowly work to something like that. And yeah, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a lot better sense of how to work and find a sensitivity that will be perfect for you. Everybody is different, so there's no telling what sensitivity will end up being exactly right for you, but I really wish you the best of luck. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you drop a sub with the noties on if you did go on to enjoy this, and a like for your boy. But without further ado, I'm gonna head out. Have a wonderful day guys.